Deadpool Wolverine feels like an insane, coked up wet dream for comic fans, and somehow simultaneously a love letter to Fox and a not so subtle dig at Disney? I'll try to explain the best I can, but there's a lot going on in this orgiastic gorefest cum nerdgasm, and it doesn't hold anything back.
Waited a long time for this team up.
I have the feeling that a lot of people will be alienated by this film, and a lot will absolutely adore it. It all depends on what you go in expecting. If you go into Deadpool Wolverine looking to see a conventional storyline or even a coherent plot, you're going to be in for a shock. If you go into this movie for all the wild, over the top Deadpool antics filtered through Ryan Reynolds' manic delivery and non stop filth train of jokes, this is the flick for you. It's like Reynolds dialed the Deadpoolisms up to 11 and pushed the story far into the background. The story is mostly a vehicle to get our misanthropic duo from one place to another and set up the next wickedly nasty fight scene or badass hero moment. Don't get me wrong, there is a story in here, but it definitely takes a backseat to all the inside jokes, fourth wall breaking, extreme violence, gore, irreverent humor, comic references, and the central bromance between Wolverine and Deadpool. And I kinda loved it. I really didn't expect to even like this movie going into it. I had a lot of doubts. The first Deadpool movie since Disney bought Fox? Would it be too PG? Too tame? Would Disney fuck it up like they've done to so many of their other properties, as well as the Marvel Universe, pretty much after Endgame on? And the beginning of the film doesn't do much to assuage those doubts. The TVA is here, for one thing, front and center. A lame group created for Disney's big pivot to the multiverse. One of the worst ideas to keep audience engagement and the fastest way to kill all of the stakes in the world you've created in one fell swoop. Plus, no one has any idea what the damn thing is if they haven't seen Loki, which I haven't. I only know about it from YouTube videos, and I refuse to do homework by watching substandard series just to understand what's going on in a movie I'm watching. After giving WandaVision a chance and being slapped in the face by that shit-tastic ending, I was done with Disney Marvel shows. I don't need to touch the flame to know it's hot. Hot shit, that is. But damned if Ryan Reynolds didn't find a way to work the TVA in and make it an entertaining facet of the film. It doesn't make sense, mind you, but then half of the movie doesn't make sense. And that's not really its purpose. At one point, Deadpool turns to the camera and basically says, let's give the fans what they want. And that means Deadpool versus Wolverine in all its visceral glory. Deadpool and Wolverine against an assortment of soldiers, superheroes, and anyone else who bleeds. Filthy, degenerate jokes ad nauseum, guys getting shanked in the balls, blood flying everywhere, and glorious cameos. So many cameos. I wish I could tell you about some of them here, but I don't want to spoil the surprise. Suffice to say that Ryan Reynolds is a comic nerd, and I respect the hell out of him for that. This movie does justice to some of the forgotten characters in our modern mythology, and it does it with so much style. We haven't seen some of these characters in decades, and I think anyone born in this millennium might struggle with some of the references and jokes, because they weren't even alive when those films came out, and some are kind of forgotten now, to all but the true superhero fan. Notice I didn't say Marvel fan, because there is a heavy focus on 20th Century Fox properties and characters, and I loved seeing every one of them. This movie does nostalgia right, and gives some decent screen time to exactly the characters you'd want to see, all while taking some pretty direct shots at Disney and its current direction, from Ryan Reynolds himself, looking directly into the camera as he does it. I don't know how he gets away with it, but it's pretty awesome, and pretty obscure for anyone not watching online videos critiquing Disney and a project or two they're struggling with. I mean, he jokes about things that haven't even been released yet. There are some deep cuts in here. The same goes for the jokes and comic book Easter eggs. These are aimed squarely at longtime fans. If you don't know who some of the more famous comic artists are, or iconic scenes from Wolverine back issues, or even the past Fox movies, you're gonna be lost here, because so much of the humor and set dressing revolves around that kind of stuff. Hugh Jackman is fantastic as usual and feels even more gruff and Logan-like in this film, and Ryan Reynolds and him have such awesome chemistry, it's a thing of beauty to behold. Despite the movie's ridiculous premise and batshit craziness, the bromance shines through, and it's real. By the end of it all, the filmmakers managed to sneak in a heartfelt climax, a family moment more poignant than anything the Fast and Furious films can come up with these days, and an incredibly genuine friendship that leaves you wanting more. I honestly went in wanting to dislike this film because of the Disney brand and how much they've degraded their offerings lately, but man, did Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and all of the rest of the cast and crew ever go above and beyond. Despite my best efforts, I had a smile on my face for most of the runtime. The start is a bit shaky and left me wondering about the story and just what the hell was going on with all of that time travel bullshit, but once it picks up, it goes full throttle and doesn't let up, story be damned. This is not a film for conventional superhero fans. The villains and obstacles and motivations almost don't matter that much. It's a celebration of Deadpool and Wolverine and old Fox properties and comics and heroes from other overlooked films nowadays. There's no worry about Disney kidifying this movie either. It's got some of the most graphic, irreverent violence I've ever seen, and crass jokes that would make a sailor blush. It's like the film was made for middle-aged, immature comic nerds, like me. And it's also totally based. This is definitely the wildest Deadpool movie out of the three, but if you're here for Deadpool, that's exactly what you get. And stick around for the end credits. Definitely the mid-credit scene, especially those of you who have any affinity for the older Fox properties. I like this one more than the second film, but I'm not sure if I like it more than the first. They're so structurally different, it's hard to say, but I think this is the most genuinely entertaining one of the three, for all the wrong reasons really, from a conventional storytelling standpoint, so maybe I do like it the best. I give it a solid 8 out of 10. It's a hell of a ride that only Ryan Reynolds can take you on, and well worth experiencing it for yourself.